practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. I am your host, Gloria Grace Rand, the insightful copywriter and founder of the Love Method. My mission is to help you stop doubting yourself so you can live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically. Namaste and welcome to another edition of Live, Love, Engage. And today is one of those episodes where it's just me. I don't like saying just me. Why do I say that? I shouldn't say it's just me. Hey, you get me for, the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. And I want to talk today about why it's important to follow your dreams, even if the timing doesn't seem right. Because this is part of, let me just say, following your dreams is part of living fully. And there is never a time. What was it? There's the Napoleon Hill quote that said, "The time will never be just right." And that is the case sometimes, because you might have a dream to be able to do a particular thing or to go somewhere, and perhaps circumstances in your life, maybe it's your job, maybe it's your business, maybe it's a relationship that's going on, makes it seem like this is not the perfect time to do that. And I will say again, there is no perfect time. And I'm not advocating that you just dump everything and go follow your dream blindly. What you can do is take steps in the direction of your dreams. And so that when finally, as you're doing that, the time will finally be right, because there will come a point in your life where you will say, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to have to just bite the bullet, gather up my courage, and go for it. Why is it important to do that? Well, if anything, the last couple of years have shown us is that life is short, life is unpredictable, and if you want something, if you've got a burning desire to do something, waiting to do it until that time is right, or waiting until all the stars have aligned, it can cause you, number one, a lot of regret of missed time, because you are foregoing what you want for someone else or something else. And I get that, because most of the people I know certainly are good-hearted people, and we always want what's best for others. And I think that's especially true of women in particular. We want to make our families happy. We want to make our clients happy if we're business owners. And we're going to do all of these things. And sometimes when we're doing all of these things, we forget about what makes us happy. Now, granted, a lot of times you do get a lot of fulfillment from taking care of other people or helping them and seeing them grow. And I know myself as a coach, I am bursting with pride right now with one of my clients, because she has gone from being really depressed and just in dire straits to now she's making plans, and she is putting together a program to launch, and I see her excitement building, and it's just so gratifying to see that. And at the same time, I also have to take care of my needs, and you have to do the same for you. You have to take care of your needs and to take care of your desires and what your dreams are. And in researching this subject a little bit more, I mean, I had some ideas of what I wanted to say, but I wanted to get some other confirmation, shall we say. I found an article talking about, what happens like at the end of life. And a lot of times people look back at their lives when they're on their deathbed and they have regrets. And there's an author by the name of Bronnie Ware, and she was a nurse, and so she, was at the bedside of lots of people who were dying, and she wrote a book which you may or may not have heard of before, but it's called The 5 Greatest Regrets of Life and How to Avoid Them. And 2 of the ones that she mentioned in that book I thought were really important that I want to highlight today during this podcast. And one of them is not the number one, or at least in this article. I'm not sure if it's number one in the book, but the one she put was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Take that in for a moment. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Have you ever done that? Have you ever found yourself following others' expectations? I know oftentimes, our parents have an idea of what they think that we should do when we grow up. Sometimes you might have an idea, but maybe they have a different idea. And maybe they say, you need to go to college and you need to get a good job and all these things. But maybe you have an entrepreneurial calling. Maybe you want to be in business for yourself. But you go along with your parents because you love them and you want to honor them, and so you sacrifice your dreams. You put them on hold, and you get a degree, and then you get a job, and then you're working, and then 10, 20, 30 years may go by, and suddenly you're married, you've got kids, and you're like, wow, what happened to that dream that I had? What happened to it? Why am I living this life when I was going to live this other life? Well, here's the thing. A lot of times you can make that decision now to start going after that life again. And I'll give you an example from my life, how this happened is not too long ago. I moved recently. And so I was going through a lot of things going through, packing up, and I came across actually my SAT um, uh, scores from high school. And for those of you who are listening who are not in the United States, this is the Standard Achievement Test is what it stands for. And people who are in high school will take this test, and the score that you get on it helps you to then enroll in college. Well, I'm looking at this, and it said that my goal was to pursue music, to get a degree in music in college. And I was like, where did that come from? I don't even remember that. Now, I don't know if I just had no clue at all, and I knew that I loved music. I loved singing, always have as a kid. Um, Still do love singing. And maybe I just said, okay, I don't know what I want to major in. I'll just put that down. But I thought it was so interesting that there probably was a part of me that really did want to do that. And I know that when I was a little kid, I used to love watching Judy Garland and Gene Kelly movies on TV. And I took dance as a kid as well. And so I had these dreams that I would be on the Broadway stage one day and I would be, singing or dancing or something like that. So that's probably where that degree in music, that desire to pursue music came from. Now, as it happens in life, life happens. And when I was a teenager, my parents wound up separating. My dad moved out of the house. And I also had this dream of going to the University of Miami. We lived in Michigan, and I wanted to go to Florida where my grandmother lived. I wanted to go to school there. So that went out the window. And suddenly I was scrambling around, enrolling in a local university. And I wound up majoring in business administration. which, um, is a far cry from music. But at the time, I thought, "Well, it'll help me get a job." And I decided to stay home with my mom, so I didn't even go away to school. I commuted, and I I did these things because I wanted to give my mom support. The next year, my brother passed away, and so again, I just stayed with my mom. But then things happened, and I wound up actually changing my major, and that's a whole 'nother story we'll get into for another day. The point I'm trying to make here is that music has found its way into my life, and it did find its way into my life. Even though I didn't pursue that dream of having a music degree, I sang in the choir in church for many, many years, and now I'm doing, light language channeling, which a lot of times is I'm singing light language, which I'll share with you, uh, at the end of this episode today. So, even though I followed a different career initially and didn't quite do that, I was able to start following that. Um, Let me share another point here, which I think is important as well. One of the other regrets that people have at the end of their lives that Bronnie found was that I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. Mm. Now that's another big one, and I think that's also what happens when we're not sharing what our dreams are, is because we're afraid. And we're afraid to let people know what that dream is for possibly fear of being judged. People might think you know, that it's outrageous to consider such a dream, or there's all kinds of things. But a lot of times, those are actually just stories we tell ourselves. And if we can find the courage to speak our truth, to express our feelings, oftentimes things are not as bad as we dream up. And people can be very understanding. Even family members can be very understanding. What people like and what people appreciate is honesty, truly. And but I know that especially, I would say, people who have experienced trauma in their lives do find it difficult and challenging sometimes to be able to express their feelings. And again, this was my case. I um, grew up with, one of the reasons I think my father moved out was, well, lots of different reasons, but let's put it this way. I think my mother was not that unhappy that he moved out is because he was an alcoholic. So living in that type of environment did cause me to be fearful a bit, not trusting myself, not trusting other people, and so I would keep my feelings close to my heart, and I wouldn't necessarily share, with people close to me what I was really feeling, and that hurt me and hurt them because I wasn't being honest with them, and I wasn't being honest with myself. So all of these things, especially I think to avoid having these regrets at the end of your life, I think that's really the biggest reason why it's important to follow your dreams. And I know sometimes though, we may not know what that dream is. In fact, I was talking about this with someone the other day. She was trying to figure out what she's going to do with, like the next 10, 20, 30 years of her life. Um, And actually, one of my best friends is going through that as well, now that I think about it. She's also not sure, as we enter this, she and I are both the same age, and wondering, what are we gonna do now for the next, 30 years or so? Um, and and if you don't know, that can be frustrating too, because you may see other people who are like, doing things, and you're like, "Well, why? They're doing something. Why don't I know what to do with the rest of my life?" And that's where, well, for one thing, it's okay. I'm going to give you permission to not have an idea yet because it's normal. It's normal. I have that. I experienced that a few years ago and was I think actually it happened after my sister passed and I was grieving and so was in a funk and I attended a business conference and part of it was to help you to, you know, envision, do some visioning about what you see for your life and what you want your business to accomplish for you. I think was the goal of this visioning process. And so they had us close our eyes and they put music on and someone was giving you prompts about how to do it. And I'm sitting there in this audience of probably 300 people and my mind is blank and I cannot come up with anything. I just had like I don't know what my life I don't know what I want my life to look like. I don't know. And it was so frustrating. Thankfully, I found an idea later. And it took a little work. It took some effort. And it took the help of other people. It took working with a variety of coaches. I was seeing a counselor and she recommended studying A Course in Miracles. So I did that for a year, which was very helpful. I had a meditation practice for many years and I continued to meditate, and that was helpful. And eventually, in working through the grief and then also starting to write my book, Live, Love, Engage, which uh, in that book, I talk about the love method and in figuring out, asking God what this love method was and how to be able to incorporate it in my life. I learned what it was and I learned how to do that. And all of these things helped me to start dreaming again and to realize that what I wanted to do was live by the ocean and I wanted to coach women. Because I really felt that because I have gone through so many different things in my life and I've learned so many lessons and going through all of these different experiences and the lessons I've learned, that I want to pay that forward. And that's what I'm doing now, actually. So I've actually this week, I'm recording this in April. For those of you who may be watching this later, years later, who knows? I don't know. But months later, I'm recording this in April 2022. And this week, I am actually launching my group coaching program, which is called Align to Shine Academy. And it is designed to help women over 40 in particular who have been neglecting their dreams, maybe put them on the back burner to raise a family, um, to work at a company, and maybe now they want to strike out on their own. But to help give them the confidence and the tools and the strategies to be able to start pursuing those dreams and to start taking those steps to do that. And I'm really excited about this because it's, I think it's going to, my intention is that it impact a lot of women and help them to make a huge impact in this world. And it's a group coaching program. I'm going to be in there doing a training every week. It's going to have videos with a curriculum for you to follow. We're going to do question and answer calls. You're going to have private one-on-one, all sorts of good things. So if you are interested in any of that, for those of you who are watching live today on Facebook and LinkedIn, type the word dream in the comments and I will follow up with you and we can have a call and I can, find out what your dream is or even if you got a little kernel of a dream and see if this program might be helpful for you. It may or may not, but we can at least have a conversation and find out. And if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, then I encourage you to just go to engagewithgloria.com. That's engage, ENGAGE, with gloria.com, and set up an appointment to talk. And we'll see. Again, we'll see if this is the right thing for you. And oh, I forgot. I did want to share with you today also a daily word, because I like to do that when I do these episodes, my solo episodes with you. And this one, I wanted to find the word dream. And of course, and I found this one, this was from 2021. So let me share this one with you. The affirmation is, I turn my dreams into reality. Doesn't that sound good? So some of the most audacious, bold, history-making events began as dreams, born in the imaginations of those who understood the promise and potential of humanity and worked to realize their vision. Even if my dreams do not change the world, they have the power to change my life. Today, I remember those whose dreams were fueled by their hard work, faith, and determination. I look to their example when my dreams feel far away and I'm running low on hope. I rekindle my dreams through my imagination, which keeps them vivid. My strength helps me remain committed to their realization, and my zeal renews my enthusiasm to work toward creating the life and the world of my dreams. And then, of course, unity always ends with a scripture quote, and this is from Joel 2:28. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. Young women will see visions too. And I really do encourage you to dream, whether you work with me or not, but to know that your dreams, you are entitled to your dreams, and you are entitled to follow your dreams. And if you feel that it's not the right time, talk it over with a friend, talk it over with your loved one, a spouse, and just let them know and say, hey, this is my dream. Can you help me? Can you help me make it happen? And then if you don't get support there, then you might want to find a coach. If not me, somebody else, and get the encouragement that you need, because unfortunately, sometimes people in our life don't support our dreams. I know that happens a lot of times when you're like people who start businesses sometimes, and they'll caution you to, don't tell anyone right away, because a lot of times people, sometimes I feel, get jealous and they see you wanting to do something new and they feel like they're missing out and that they should be doing it. And so then they'll try to keep you stay safe and staying where you are so that they don't feel alone anymore. So again, don't let that dissuade you, because we come into this world and we create the world that we live in. And we can also intend and set the intention that people will understand, and you can make that happen too. And that's actually some of the things we'll be covering in my Line to Shine program. But anyway, before I close today, before we end this episode, as always, I'd like to share with you light language. I mentioned that earlier today. And light language really works. It can help you with your physical and mental outlook, but it also really works at the soul level to help us to heal emotionally and physically and connect to our innate wisdom, activate dormant gifts and truths, and connect to our purpose. So it's my intention today that I'm going to ask my angels and archangels and to be able to share a message with you today that will be for your soul's highest good, and perhaps can also help you to gain some clarity on your dreams so that you can not only see what you want, but then also help you to start gaining the courage and the confidence to pursue it. So that's my intention for you as we close out today's episode. So this is for those of you listening today. This is intended for your highest good. Yokoye Sonia, Sonia kia kiho, Sonia kolera si anokia, Sonokia to sukuye hasu anake, anoye kalyo to he. Sonoki soyono kikalie, Onna kikare sokia, Oshono e kaloto, Anno kiale kae koa, Sonyoko he kutia, Sayoko lien no kisho he, Okoye aso. Koyonokia tokuya, onokia, sunokia ti, shonoika, yanokia tahe, sonoi anoki. Shonokika, hotoshiankana, he tashianokoe, ha sonokia, hanokia. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for listening, for those of you listening on your favorite podcast platforms. And if you did get some benefit out of this episode, I encourage you to share it with a friend, whether that's on social media or on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening to this today. Invite people to the show. And until next time, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.